Hey friends, it's the morning show. I'm Jeff Cook, Kristin Messagey, Jackie Contessa, TJ Wilson. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jeff is bad at ladies math, which means that he doesn't love
First
Jackie.
of all, it's called girl math.
First of all, it's girl math.
Okay, I've been told that using the term girls for the female biological sex is
Okay, we'll give you that point.
Yeah, but
You get that.
what overwork in this case.
What I'll say though is he did get the questions right about like what does K mean. So I'm very impressed by that. But he's gonna have to learn a little bit about girl math and getting treats. But that's okay. Good morning.
I mean, he is a middle-aged gentleman.
That's a misconception, by the way.
That you're a middle-aged
That
gentleman.
you're middle-aged.
I'm 2/3 of the way through. Middle age is 30.
I'm getting ready to own it.
Am I almost middle aged?
Yeah, sorry
No,
about that.
you're a child.
I'm just a baby.
Misconceptions, y'all. Sometimes in Enneagram world.
This is
There.
fun. Okay, I don't love my list, so I will be doing probably more bantering than participating. But we'll see what happens. My
To
lists
be
are kinda-
honest, that's where I'm at also.
Well, let's hope someone did their homework better than we did.
I did my homework,
Jackie,
but mine's
of
going to
course.
feel like I'm picking a fight, which is on
Oh, we
par
can
for
pick a
me.
fight. That's fine.
Do you want to pick a fight? Can you pick a fight with me, Kristin?
I'm-
with me, but with other
Any
people.
time.
Will you-
Yes.
We'll start a gang.
Aren't we already?
Sixes are a gang of one.
Misconceptions in Enneagram world. Let's just define, I suppose, how we each came to the topic. In my view, like there's a lot of times that some of the types, most of the types, get pigeonholed with a kind of title or description that kind of exists for a long time, and when referencing that type just becomes part of the banter, especially when a bunch of different people who are different types just start talking. And that can be, especially as people become more and more informed, it does one of two things. One, it can kind of be off-putting. And secondarily, I saw this recently. It feels like sometimes somebody has typed as, say, a 1 or a 3 or a 5, and they embrace the misconception and say, this is who I should be at some level. It's like, I think you're missing how this all works. So it's well worth elevating some of these ideas, in my view, because I think it's freeing for us, both relationally and personally. So what do you guys think?
Agree to agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would want to add to that, the especially within the last 10 or 15 years, with the tremendous amount of trendiness around this topic, lots of people who don't know what they're talking about got book deals. Lots of people have put stuff out there.
TJ went for the jugular.
I mean, publishers want to sell books. They don't care if the information is accurate. It's and especially
Do you want to
a
name
subject,
names, TJ?
I do not.
But people are getting their
Avoid that
information
conflict.
from there. That's so true.
Exactly. Yeah. And the social media of it all, the memification of the Enneagram, there's a lot of bad information out there.
That's good.
My present view on this, I would love to get your guys' gut on this. Sometimes it can be helpful to have the stereotype up front because it kind of introduces people to the language. But it's almost like you need to tell people up front, look, this is a stereotype, but we're going to move off this pretty quick. But this is just a quick description to get you into it and kind of understanding what we're talking about. You know what I mean?
I think it depends on
there's a
which
middle.
one. Like which stereotypes we're talking about. Like, and as we go through, we might be like, well, that one actually is true, but blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Some are just wrong. Some are true.
I think there's a middle between what is a stereotype and what is archetypal, because what we see things that are archetypal and then they branch out and they sort of don't apply to the sexual instinct. They don't apply to this swing, but this does and that does. So if we're talking about stereotypes, I think we're in deep yogurt. If we're talking about archetypal patterns, we're going to be able to find some common ground before we go, yes, but this is what I do with that. And so on and so forth, you know?
That's good, Jackie.
And everything like such as.
Friends?
This is also my exact pitch about the names.
Yeah.
I hate the names. For
I
the
like them
types.
to some degree. Like I like them to some degree. I don't like being like the challenger. It's fun for social media, but we can say, okay, challenging comes from X, it comes from Y, it comes from Z.
Yeah.
But then suddenly that is all they are, and we suddenly don't understand an 8 anymore.
Right.
And that's, you're 100%, it's really dangerous.
Yep.
This is a
I mean,
an untethering we have to do.
dangerous is a
It's an untethering that we have to do, and
I agree.
we have to start. We have to know where we start, and it just screws where we start, I think.
It gets to the point of like we either know the system and use it and it's valuable, or it's nothing. Is really
It's a game
where I
that's
come
fun,
to it.
yeah.
It's like it's not nothing. So let's get it right. But that means care. And a lot of people just don't care. And that's also, I guess, fine. I have to be okay with, since we can't actually control anybody around this, I have tried.
We all have.
For me, I take it seriously. I mean, I have literally my livelihood wrapped up in this weird ass tool. So it does matter that we get it right. And we're also going to disagree on what getting it right is. And that, I mean, it kind of goes on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
When you
Oh,
said
let's-
weird ass tool, I think you meant scientifically verifiable.
I actually don't
perspective
mean
on the
that.
most important topic
I
there is,
actually
which is your
do
motive.
not mean that.
A scientifically verifiable weird ass tool.
I am not remotely in need to say the Enneagram is scientific, but some people are. That's cool.
I think it works. Itworks.com.
This is a holy item. Speaking of spiritual, holy item. It is the die, the around the circle.
This is how we're going to decide.
Die.
I like it. Roll
So
the
when we
thing.
start with twos, it's the die's fault. That's what I'm saying. Holy crap. It's eights. Misconception. TJ, let's start off with you, boss. What is a misconception about eights?
That they don't care about things.
About things?
In general, it is really easy to paint with a broad brush in a way that portrays eights as though they don't care about anything but themselves.
Is it never the case that eights are attempting to portray that
Like themselves as
well?
unaffected.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure that there are many eights who are attempting to portray that, but I don't think that's necessarily born out of eightness. I think that's unhealth.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
It's a good misconception.
Yeah.
What you got, Kristin?
Oh, no. Mine are all terrible. I really don't like them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Jackie,
You can go last.
You guys take it. Ugh. I'm not going to go. I'm just going to talk.
I think a misconception is that eights are always just here baseline all the time unless they are angry. There are some eights that can be very emotional and sometimes even very, very moody. And it comes from their sensory motor dominance. It comes from not getting the other centers involved, right? And so there are some eights that, yes, they show the littlest they keep to themselves, but there are some eights that can be really moody. And I think even to TJ's point, like there's more that goes under the surface than we know, than we see, than they care to share. So I think that's a lot of those eights have thought they were a 7, I find.
Okay. Say all that again. So the stereotype is that eights are sort of this like one note, like
Sort of, yeah,
steady,
they're going to show you they're one-dimensional.
unless they're angry.
But some eights can be in
Appear moody, like actually be moody in real.
in their own world. Yeah, in their own world, in their own life, to the people that they know and love, they can be very moody and emotional. I don't like the word moody, but when I say it to them, it's around like a lot of social and sexual subtype. But when I say that to them, they're like, "Yeah, I am kind of moody." I'm like, "Yeah." So I think that's yeah.
And they can be shoot, I just lost the word. Move on. I lost it.
Any
Literally have
others?
no idea what I was going to
Was
For
say.
you
hoping you were
guys,
gonna
it
get it
feels
back.
like we're clipping, but I'm going to throw...
I was just going to say the other thing is that they enjoy intimidating people. I think to some degree they know when they can utilize what they need to do, but like sometimes they're just trying to like have a conversation and they're like, no, I'm not trying to scare. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to come back here. Like, I think we do feel their energy, but I think there's this idea that they enjoy what they are always putting off. And I don't think that's the case.
But they can.
They can, sure. The same way I can really enjoy flattering people when I think about it.
Totally.
My list is going to build on that. There are
Sure.
2 very popular books on Enneagram that use titles for the types and not just the numbers. And for 8, the title is Challenger. And I think this is misguided. I think that 1s and 6s come across far more on the Challenger front than 8s do. I see 8s commonly doing the opposite of challenging. A lot of 8s take huge steps back and don't always want to exert their energy into spaces. It seems to me a misguided step to call 8s the Challenger. 1, because other types I think are more challenging at times, and 2, because I think that 8s commonly go the opposite direction.
That energy is for them.
Yeah.
Their energy is that they want to push against and have something push back. That is why they rely so heavily on their sensory motor dominance. And so, to your point, like, they don't want to challenge. They want to go from A to Z, and they want you to do as you please as well. Like, own your shit, do your shit, right? So I think there's, I wouldn't say that they like commonly do the opposite. They will challenge what they feel is coming up against them, or is the injustice, so to say. But yeah, to your point, like, that pushing back, that like exerting, that's for them. That's for their autonomy. That's for them, and they'll use it in the other way if they have to. But I don't think, to your point, challenging is not the route.
I would say own your shit, do your shit could come across most of the time as challenging.
Okay, I'll rephrase, and I'll say a way that a client of mine has phrased it, and I was like, wow, this is brilliant. Her phrase is, quietly do as you please. I'm doing the same.
Quietly do what you please does not sound like a challenger. Just to say it.
Yeah.
The description, I think, is misguided here. And though it's in popular books, I think perhaps, to TJ's point earlier, it may be the case that you just shouldn't use titles at all. The numbers are really what you should focus on, because the ideas about the motive is so depthy. But also, that just seems misguided. It's likewise misguided, it seems to me, because, and this is going to be true of a lot of my descriptions, the focus on behavior is going to be severe in some Enneagram teachers, master teachers, descriptions of the type.
Yeah. I think there's where do you start is a really important thing. And 8s don't start with challenging.
Right.
Yes.
They just don't. It's a thing they can do, but you know what? So can Kristin, so can Jeff, so can I.
My
Not
favorite.
TJ, though.
Not me. Not
No,
interested.
I love TJ.
I'm going to coax you into believing what I believe.
You don't even need to. You have that presence.
My favorite
That's interesting.
Enneagram teacher is Don Riso. He uses the term leader, which I would also want to throw out as not a good description of 8s. That's his primary for the type. There's lots of 8s that aren't leaders, and there are lots of types that are better leaders.
I don't think there's one word that fits any of the archetypes except 1 or 2 or 3, because even in the shared archetype, leader or protector or whatever, like it gets so yeah. Anyone have anything else for 8s? Any misconceptions for 8s?
Only if you want to talk more about leader. Those were my 2, was challenger and leader.
I don't think leader is untrue.
For all 8s?
Well, I mean, we can't say that we're speaking for all of any one type. I'm not saying it should be a word that describes 8s, but I'm saying the quality itself
Sure.
does not seem like it would not apply to most people motivated by what 8s are motivated by. Like the autonomy piece, and I think 8s have the most connection to their autonomy. Connection to it, and then Jackie's fancy word, the motor, what's your...
Sensory motor dominance.
Yeah. They're the most connected, I would say, to that of the body type, right? So having that as your motor...
The most literal idea of,
Yeah, you're going to move through the world how you damn well please. That's going to... People want to follow. So that is a natural, back to the archetypal energy. I'm not saying yes, it's leader, but I'm like, it's not the worst word either. Like,
right. We're
if
not
I'm
choosing a
gonna
word to
go,
describe, but that's
and
not
you
an
can
accurate.
come if you want. That's a very like what we might consider a leader energy. So I think they can collect followers, and I think they can, take over situations quite easily.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of capacity and ability.
That's true.
So I don't.
And it's funny because depending on the 8, it can give them that dual sense of like power, and I don't want to say omnipotence, but like power, and also like I don't want people dependent on me because that changes my A to Z. Yeah. So that's an interesting. Yeah.
I also think that like there can be some bleed over into 9s here with this idea that like you don't necessarily want to lead, but you might have natural tendency to become a leader.
Yeah.
And I fully agree that there are many 8s out there who should not be leaders.
But that's beside.
But the natural way that they move through the world, it creates a dynamic that puts them into leadership positions.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to divide the world into 2, which is always a good idea.
Us versus them. Woo!
If we're talking leaders and followers, you're going to be much less likely to find 8s in that follower camp.
9s.
Yeah.
What you say, TJ? What's your 9 stereotype misconception?
My big one is peace, serenity. That we want things to be chill all the time.
Oh, say more. This is so good.
So I've been this is one of the soapboxes I've been on for the last year or so. But it's the idea of shalom for me, which I'm not intending for a religious influx here, but like it's a word that means something so much bigger than what it is. The idea of shalom for me is everything working as it should. And that is not necessarily always peaceful. One of my favorite days of the year for the last 15 years has been this giant arts market that took place in the building that my coffee shop was in. And it's 4,000 people coming into this building and filling it for the whole day, and everyone just standing around, and sometimes it's too hot and sometimes it's too cold, and like the energy of what that event is feeds me. It's so good. It's so enjoyable to be in that space, and it is not even a little bit peaceful.
I love it.
But it is shalom.
It's
to
how
me.
it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said.
Jackie.
I try really hard. I try really hard not to use the words peace and conflict when it comes to 9. I think that's way too reductive. We're suddenly talking about a little old lady who just wants everybody to get along and doesn't want anyone to fight. And it's,
Isn't there some of that though?
There is,
Yeah.
but I think that's where we get to like it's the challenger of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's like one tiny little bitty, like it's not that it doesn't apply, but it's just not. It's a manifestation, right?
And it can happen in other types, which is where it gets really confusing.
Exactly.
Right?
When-
Like
when we say this
most
is an archetypal-
6s don't want other people to be upset. And so they can get, ooh, am I a 6, am I a 9, based on that one
Right.
thing, to your point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So one of the things I have for 9 that I think 2 of them that actually go hand in hand misconceptions are that they're always calm and that they're emotionally simple.
Oh.
I think I don't know that they always feel or register every single high and every single low.
We can't.
Every
It's
time.
exhausting.
That's what they know where their energy is going to mute something. So they're not emotionally simple. It's there. Like I'm thinking of a friend of mine who's a 9 in particular, where I can start to like, I am like, oh my God, I can almost hear your hair frying. I'm like, wait. You're sad. Come back. But there's to say that they don't have high highs and low lows is to say, great, then they don't have any energy and they don't put that energy towards anything anywhere. That's where they're putting their energy, is to not registering the highest and the lowest. So I think a misconception is that they're emotionally simple. I think that's a crock of shit.
I've never heard that, and that is mean.
What?
I've just never heard that misconception. I'm like, that's so mean.
It is mean. It's terrible.
I didn't know people thought that.
I think it goes to, so we had an interview with a 9 earlier this year, and they were talking with somebody they cared about, and I felt like the person they cared about said something that really cut the 9, and I brought it up, and we had a debate on whether the 9 got cut. They couldn't see it, and I was just like, this man just got really injured, and it went back and forth and back and forth. Long story short, it wasn't evident.
But this reminds me of when I was interviewing TJ and I said, TJ, what's it like when someone is angry at you? And TJ said something that I could not even fathom inside myself, was basically there was no difference from like anger in the space around or anger directed at. It was sort of all the same.
Wow.
For you. And I still am like, and I think it's this ability to kind of avoid the cut, maybe by like, I don't know. It's like, I'm picturing it like some kind of like, here comes the thing. And then it just like, that's a lot of how I see 9 is intensity gets like, I don't know, spread out, or there's like this whoosh to where it doesn't cut. Tell me, TJ, how I'm interpreting what you said. Cause I literally was like, what is happening?
I mean, that's not inaccurate. I think that the bigger point behind what I was trying to say was that the anger in the room feels very, very similar to the anger directed at me. So not necessarily that the cut doesn't happen, but that the cut is not more because it's for me.
So it's kind of all out external anger in any direction is not great.
Right. It's I am experiencing all of it. The exhaustion comes from the fact that I'm experiencing all of it and trying to compress it.
To compress it so that it can.
So it comes out easier.
That's good. Okay.
My assumption is that like if a family member said something that was harsh to you, there would likewise be, in order to get your motive fulfilled, there might be some absorbing, there might be some self-forgetting, there might be some avoidance, even though you got cut.
Yeah. And disassociation, like the narcotizing, and yeah, it's trying to minimize the effect the cut has.
Totally.
It's not being cut. It's trying to not be hurt by the cut.
Yeah. So to Jackie's point, like the non-emotional side,
It's
this is not a
expression.
good
It is
description.
not feeling. It's
yeah.
It's the expression that I'm trying to control, not the actual feeling.
My list was also taking these 2 books. Peacemaker was one of them for 9s, so we've already talked about that. The second is Mediator. I wanted to pick on Mediator for a second because, one, this is behavior, and there's one person that 9s never mediate for, and it seems blindingly obvious when I pitch it. 9s don't mediate for themselves, and this makes the title tricky.
Yep.
Because, again, it's about behavior, and again, it's misstepping in terms of understanding what's going on in the heart of a 9.
It's also not totally inaccurate.
I would love to make a distinction real quick because this has been your objection to both my claims. Of course, 8s can be leaders. Of course, 9s can be mediators. They do have that gear. It's not.
So I don't think it's an inaccurate stereotype. Is what I'm saying. I would claim mediator as like one to like keep.
No, it's that. Let me clarify real quick, and then you go, Jack. It's that the titles are seeking to do a job. They're seeking to name a type and how we ought to understand them. But of course, there's counterexamples. That's my point. Not that 8s can't be leaders. Of course they can. Not that 9s can't be mediators. Of course they can. 1s can be perfectionists. Of course they can. They're not
I
always
agree with
these
the
things.
names, but what I'm saying is, as we discussed at the beginning, there might be some that fit more than others. I think mediator can kind of like not be the name for 9s, but I don't think it's so much a stereotype that's wrong. Like when I came to this idea, it was like, what are the stereotypes that are kind of bullshit? And I don't think mediator is a bullshit one for nines. I don't think it's what we should call them. I just think it shows up a lot.
And I think the calling nines mediators gives the impression that we want to do that we naturally do that. And like oftentimes when we're mediators, it's more like court-appointed mediators. It's our job because like there's conflict in front of us and we need to resolve the conflict.
You can't control it the way you've been able to control what's going on in here, and it's still a detriment to what's, your peace, so to say, your shalom.
Yep.
Yeah, I was trying to find the words to say that, so I appreciate that, TJ.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Did you have any, Kristin?
No, I don't like them.
You don't like nines?
Fight.
Don't like the misconceptions.
I don't care if you don't like me. I just don't want to ever hear about it.
I do hear your point, Kristin, in terms of it's not a misconception if it's easily applied to a lot of the people.
Yeah.
I think I was reading misconception as something that is defining in nature.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm agreeing that we don't like the broad labels. I agree with that. Yeah. Although there are some for 6 I really do like. Well, there's one. Anyway, do I have anything here?
I think lazy will always be on my list. Like, misconception is that they're lazy. The disengagement is always about self. Of course, people can be collateral, but like keep your opinion away from them. That's rude.
And that they don't do things. I mean, I think that's just absurd.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah.
We don't do the things we're supposed to a lot, but
they're
doing stuff a lot. Okay. Other nines are doing things a lot.
Yeah. Not doing the thing is such the key, and that's such just an inside, moment to moment personal thing. Yeah. So to say that they're not doing things is just. Oh, what about that they're all kind of spiritual in some way? That there's some kind of connection to, like, this is something I think is nine-ish that is you probably can't have it, TJ.
I'm totally fine with that.
I just think there's something to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even the nines that are very here and now, I'll just do a puzzle. There's something spiritual in them too. That's like everything connects us. We're all here together.
Point.
Peace
That's
and
a good
love.
Point. That's a good
Connection.
point.
Yeah.
Because at the crown of the Enneagram,
What you're saying, yes, I was
we
saying
see
that was
all
good.
of us.
I think there's I wouldn't say that they're necessarily all spiritual, but I do think that there's why we say that they're all spiritual is because they, of all of us, have this, I'm going to generalize and say that, like, they do see a thread that ties us all together.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
A connectedness.
Yeah.
I hate to be the contrarian, although I don't.
You don't.
So you don't?
I'm the better contrarian.
We can say that for
Go
ones
for
here
it.
in a second. I think really unhealthy nines come immediately to my mind, and nines who are unhealthy, I think actually do have this gear of embracing spirituality, understanding that it's all a crock of shit, and moving through that and using it for personal purposes. That would be their mindset, not my mindset. I don't think spirituality is a crock of shit, but I can see the nine
like this, yes.
Going down that road of getting to the spot where they kind of begin to use the spirituality for different purposes.
When a tool
It doesn't
tells you that
disprove the
next-
point. It's just a different level of health is what you're talking about.
Well, they cease to be spiritual at that point.
Right. When a tool
see it.
says,
But
when
they
a
can
tool
still
says,
see it.
when a tool says you have to do the work to actually be what's the word? Spiritual bypass, right? Where being in the forgiveness pool, the peace and love pool, the I understand myself pool is good, and it perhaps is another type of numbing or forgetting of sorts, right? Where I think I'm thinking of one person I know in particular who is like the most loving, harmonious, lost in their spiritual world. And truly they embody that. But when it comes to actually addressing things that would require work to undo, move forward, see things, recognize, it's really hard to do that. But there's something about the spirituality, the together community that she is in that provides a sense of, I don't want to say escape is not the word that I'm looking for, but it floats her up out of.
I think, yes, I kind of feel like I know what you're saying. I think 9s are probably big propagators of high vibes only type of deal, like that kind of spirituality. I'm air quoting, if anyone's just listening, I don't think that's a real spirituality, but the sort of like high vibes only, and the whole, yes, the getting out of the body is the goal. The like all of this like up and out spirituality is probably well, it's males, but also 9s probably too.
I concur. I think that can be a temptation, as it were.
Yeah.
Ones. What
Jeff,
you got,
I
Teach?
have a question.
Yeah.
If you find $20 cash in your car and you spend half of it on a treat, how much was the treat?
I never think of money in these ways.
The treat was free. Let's pick on ones.
I mean, if you found $20 in your
TJ,
car,
the treat was free. You're
that
agreeing, right?
$20 was probably already yours.
You don't know that.
I think that in your car detail.
That
is the
just
place
goes
where
to
it
show
gets
how
made.
few people
was a
are riding
free
around with you.
$20.
It was a free $20.
These
Found
people don't love
$20 on the
me.
street.
It was also free if you went and returned a shirt for $20.
Okay,
like, come
yes.
on.
One person in
Pick
this
it
group loves
up.
me.
God.
Let's pick on ones.
Perfectionists.
I'm
That's a
with
good
you. That's mine as
misconception.
well.
One.
Yeah.
The biggest one, I think, for ones that is the biggest detriment to the entire Enneagram is the inner critic. Because then everyone thinks, if I have an inner critic, which every fucking buddy does,
Yeah.
then I must be a 1. It's blindingly infuriating because it does no justice to what ones are actually dealing with in terms of this like thing that they've got going on. So
Is there a word you use to? I'm sorry.
Well, and that fully negates the potential of significant trauma that's causing that inner critic. Like I know a handful of ones, air quotes, that are actually a different type, and the voice that they're hearing in their head that's criticizing everything they do is their dad, because their dad was an asshole.
sure, or the culture, or religious cultures, or
Right.
I mean, there are so many places, and we all have all have an inner critic. Every single freaking human being has a part of them that says not so nice things. So, I get real upset about that one because it does no justice to what ones are actually navigating. And people are like, oh, I have an inner critic. I like things to be done well. Let's be one.
Yeah.
Jackie, what were you going to say?
Kristin, is there a way that you call that inner something? Because I've like when I first started coaching, I was using the phrase inner policing system and I was describing it as being a constant. The
problem.
yeah.
Sorry, Jackie.
No, please go ahead.
The problem as I see it is it's so unconscious. Like it has to become conscious. So I just don't think it's like a voice as we understand it.
It's a
inner critic,
continuum, right? So it's I think there's
not that the voice can't be there as it can for all people. But
It
there's
starts as
this
an inner
just, like,
knowing, and
it's
then I
a
think
noticing.
Yeah.
What it is a noticing. The noticing is constant. I love to use the example of like any room my husband and I are in, we'll be having a conversation and he will just be noticing everything in that space that could be better.
But I think though the instinct, that inner critic, is more that instinctual thing gone awry. So like when I'm talking with a type 1 and we're going through it, I'm unpacking it as a continuum that's in its healthiest form, an inner gut knowing that turns into policing or criticality or a different kind of manifestation to keep us in a very specific way, lane, XYZ. So I'm trying to find, but it's a little bit of a continuum that like is the gut knowing gone fucked, basically. And begins to bring them back to like, no, it has to be like this. You have to do it like this, or something gets threatened or disorganized.
I think gut knowing gone fucked. That's the word, Jackie. That's what we're going to call it.
Ew. So
Because it's like he sees what's wrong and then it's his
Right.
to fix.
And
like
it's
he
yes.
can't rest until he fixes the thing that is not
Right.
right. Yeah.
I got a question for you guys.
What's your question? Because I was just going to read my list.
2s and 6s. So, do you experience self-judgment and self-blame and this is where
Name a vertical. The answer is yes.
The answer is yeah.
that seems to me to be the sorts of ideas that the language around
Pride
one's-
stops me. Pride stops me, I'll be honest. But when
Must be nice.
I shame myself, like I judge myself, I feel shame, I feel this, that, and the other thing, and then I go, I wonder what Jeff's doing. And then I go, hey Jeff, I'm so proud of you.
That is so interesting and such a wonderful example of how it works in a 2. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add for the 6? Because then I have a follow-up.
I mean, it's endless. It's why so many 6s mistype as 1s. I mean, the inner blame shame for 6s is
Yes.
it comes across as doubt. Okay, we would call it doubt, which is where then we get into like the proper words to use for 6 or whatever, because it has a flavor of it's a question more than a statement, right? Like, did I do enough? Could I do enough? Do I need to do more? As opposed to 1s are like, I didn't do enough. I need to do more, right? So it's flipped into questioning, but it's relentless and like soul crushing.
To what Kristin was saying, the two of the things that I came with for misconceptions for 1 was, number 1, blame, wrong, bad. Those are not social things. Those are internal things, right? So that's a huge differentiator, I think, like 2 and 6 versus 1. But then the other thing is the one right way to do things, or a mostly right way to do things, is not an egoic thing. It comes from that same internal place. And then it becomes this blame thing, and it's not a social thing.
That's good.
That was where my question was going to lead. In terms of inner criticism, granted, a lot of types, perhaps all types, have inner criticism. The movement towards shouldness, wrongness, badness, is that exclusive to 1s, or is that a 2-6 category as well?
Oh, there's a lot of that in 6. Externally and internally. I mean, shoulds are the driver for 6s, right? So the issue is for 6s, we don't know the right thing and we're always seeking it. Whereas 1s are not wondering.
And so 1s, 2s, and 6s are always shooting on themselves. I'm letting my heart tell me what I should do, though. So for me, it's not, I'm not here. I'm not even here.
Mm-hmm.
Where? Sorry, I missed that.
Like what I should do, my heart is like what I should do, but
so you just
I'm not, and I just do it.
You
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like not even really sitting and thinking about it or thinking about me or how I feel. I'm not thinking. Nope.
Dang.
Whereas 6s are thinking about what other people should do.
Right. We're taking it with our
so
center,
often.
right? We're doing it with our center. My heart is like,
and thinking about what I should do. Yeah. As opposed to that gut version of that. It's much less thinking. It's just doing.
All these things are helpful, I think. Did you have any others, Jackie?
The last one I had for type 1 as a misconception was that all their standards are objective. I think one thing that grinds my gears and makes me have TMJ is when people go, like, 1s always follow the rules and they always want to do the right thing.
Exactly. What does that even mean?
And the truth is, like, yes, right? Like, I think when we can see something that looks like pretty obvious justice and what's right is right, like, yeah, they want to do the right thing. A lot of times, what makes this a funny thing is that is all the calls coming from inside the house, the standard, the right, the what's going to, and it's all about what's not going to make this gut feeling gone fucked assault us even more, right? So it's like all of our all the standards are not necessarily objective. They are based on what's right, but that comes from me as a 1, and that can be really, really hard. Because that's my lens for
that's one of the key things for 1s to learn.
Mine is perfectionist as well. We moved off it kind of quick and started talking about the inner critic. I think the idea of perfection is, again, to talk philosophically, I think it's a silly idea.
Yeah.
There is an idea, there is a push here. I assume that this is going to go with what you were saying, Kristin. There is like perfection assumes an objectivity. Yeah.
Keep talking. I'm just taking it in.
There is something to the idea of perfectionist that, well, one, I think the idea is kind of strange of half the time. And bigger than that, I think a lot of ones are not perfectionistic about 2/3 of the things in their life. They may focus hard on a couple things that they really want to have agency, authority, and control over, but that's really more what it is. And then they have high standards for those spaces. But that's more about, it's similar to the 9s, feeling good in the world by orchestrating their agency over a space.
Can I say something about perfectionism?
It's your podcast, baby.
Okay, so when I work with one, because I agree, I think if we're looking for the unrealistic, doesn't exist perfectionism and going that makes a one, like we're really wrong. And a lot of times when I'm working with a 1, they worked through what we would consider perfectionism in grade school, right? Like what they were like, oh, I really worked through that. Like Po Buddy's perfect, yeah. So a lot of ones will say they're not perfectionist because there's no such thing as perfect. Perfectionism is defined as the tendency to demand of others or self an extremely high or flawless level of performance, especially in excess of what is actually required by the situation. So we do have to, like, there are perfectionistic tendencies that manifest in billions of different ways. But to say that ones are trying to get it perfect it goes back to that gut thing. They're trying to get it back to where their gut is saying, this is where you can leave it. This is what makes it, you can close the loop here, or this is what makes it done. So I think it's interesting because it's we can really split hairs here, but I think to say that ones are always just trying to get it perfect, I think it's dumbing down and reducing their energy, and their energy is used much more efficiently. That's stupid.
And there's people are always like, oh, someone's mad about grammar, it's a 1, that type of stereotype. Right. But
the ones always point out my typos on my posts.
You know what? My 6s never point out my typos. I realized that one day and I was like, the graciousness, because 6s can be real grammar.
I know that the ones respect me because they're calling me out. I'm like, thank you.
On the flip side, I have a degree in literature, and I'm the worst at actually producing said typos and not checking and not, spelling things correctly. And my grammar is awful.
Not a perfectionist.
But what I'm saying is the internal desire to perfect themselves. I don't think we can get rid of that. I think that there's something there, right? And this sort of constant touching into, I don't think I've done enough there. I think I could do
There's
more
a constant
there.
asking of themselves for a little bit more. Yes.
Yes. So it's really not external. Now, it obviously goes external, but it's interesting the way it goes external is it's kind of like there's a perceived competence because they believe in their ability to perfect themselves and they project that out. They're like, we can all do better. It comes out in a way that doesn't sound great necessarily, but there's this deep belief that we can be better and we can do better. And so to me, there is, maybe it needs a different word, but there is a perfecting thing occurring. It's just not unlike
perfecting
paper.
Perfecting is a progress
It's like
along a goal.
Constant thing. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's so many areas. Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
Apparently the perfectionists are not perfect at communicating how everybody else can become more perfect because other folks are just not sold. You need to work on that ones.
Yes,
seriously.
we're not sold on your idea of perfect for us. Thank you.
I mean, you want, you need to work on that. So you're not getting the job done.
I just really, it's 8s, I think, are better generally at elevating people it's like the same energy, right? It's like we can all do better. And I think 8s do a little bit better of maybe kind of a calling forth thing. But I really think that same thing is what's present in ones, like a true belief in like, and just a desperate desire.
Ones and eights are great.
Better.
I would say, and sixes too, but ones and eights and sixes are great at championing others. They just do it very, very differently.
Very, very differently.
Yeah, I think it's the most obvious
Like-
in eights, but like, yeah, but it.
Bob literally said, I think this is one of the most things I've ever heard. He will never give something 5 stars. Ever.
Because there's room for improvement.
Because there's room for improvement. Because it could be better. Like, this is literally something he lives by.
If you just give 5 stars everywhere, then the 5th star becomes meaningless.
Exactly.
Except if you're
He would
rating this
never
podcast.
give 5 stars.
Unless you're, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Rating this
podcast,
podcast?
5 stars.
He probably wouldn't.
Bob.
He'd be like, you guys could do, I mean, he probably wouldn't. He's just, because it's a rule that he has.
Bobby.
Which I'm like, who? No one calls
But
him
at this
that.
point, it's not about the
Sorry.
principle anymore. It's about the rule.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
do
funny.
like the idea of internal self-development, reform, perfecting as much more core as opposed to the outward behavior of which is what I read here. I don't think perfectionist implies internal reformation. It feels to me like it's something else. 2s. What you say, TJ?
I actually really struggled with 2s.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think...
Because we're perfect.
All the stereotypes are apt.
Well, and I think a lot of the sort of quote unquote misconceptions about 2s are present in them. It's more about the way that we treat them.
Ooh,
That's
I
the
like this.
problem.
I like where you're going with this.
So like it is not the case that 2s don't want to be helpful. It is the
Exactly.
case that we take advantage of that helpfulness, our systems are structured to take advantage of that helpfulness.
Can I
Bajillion
start
percent.
with the helper, because this is primary on mine.
Yeah.
I've said this a handful of times. The type most likely to say no to me are 2s. That just on its face strikes me as either like it's a misconception at some level. I can see 2s seeing themselves as this is how I connect with the world, but just again as a title for a type that strikes me as misguided.
We agree. The title, we don't like the titles. But in terms
Well,
of
I mean, this is what-
wanting to help.
I think to Jeff's point, Kristin, like I think he's just making an example that 2s are the helper and the people most comfortable and most consistently saying no to him are 2s. So I hear what he's saying. I will say that a misconception of 2s is that we love and will treat everyone equally. Now, we will treat everybody with self-respect and as a human of this earth. When it comes to our 2-y gifts that we want to elevate and da-da-da-da-da-da, Jeff, I hate to say it, but maybe they don't think they're going to get a lot of juice out of your squeeze if they help you. Right?
And I think that this may
Yeah.
be true, but it
Yes.
might be true for all types.
it's
like,
fair,
it's
but
not-
yeah.
Like my point. I feel like I'm being precise with my language, and y'all
No,
aren't
I agree
hearing
with
the
you.
precision
I heard
of
what you were
I'm
saying.
claiming.
I heard what you were saying
Yeah.
just then. I understood what you were saying.
I think it's a misconception to call 2s the helper,
I agree.
and this was the reason for it.
I agreed with that. Yeah. Sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
apologize
yeah,
if I
Jackie
didn't.
had your back 100% on
Yeah.
that. I
No,
felt.
I agree with that.
Would you restate what you said?
Yeah. So what I hear 2s are coined the helper, and of the people he asks for help, he often hears no. And what we have to understand about 2s is that we don't love and treat everyone equally, especially when it comes to our help, because it's not that we are unwilling to help here and there as we are passing by. Generosity kind of just comes out of us. We do notice those things. We do help someone with the groceries, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm trying to say is, in them assessing whether or not to say yes or no to you, them saying no, I mean, could be them being like, I don't have the time, or I'm not able to do it, but also being like, I can't get anything out of this, or, where they would prioritize energy towards things that they would get juice out of the squeeze. So one of my misconceptions that I came in with was that we love and treat everyone equally with our gifts of sacrifice and yes, and yeah, I'm gonna help you. Like, I think that's a big misconception. Yeah.
The idea being like, it's not that like all types can say that. It's that the twos are the most likely to say no to me in terms of things that I'm building and inviting folks into. It's like everybody could say, look, I don't think what you're doing is worth the squeeze. But it's that the twos are the most likely, and that's why I suppose.
Right. Oh, sorry, and I'm not talking about your thing being worth the squeeze. I'm talking about for the two being like, what do I get out of this in saying yes?
Of course.
Do you get what I'm saying?
But I mean, everybody's like that, yeah? Do I want to devote my time to
yes
to
and
a certain
no?
project?
Yes and no. Like when we're thinking about what's worth a 3's time, a 7's time, they might be measured by different things. So a 2, they might measure it based on, I'm going to, doing it in a work setting is a little difficult for me, but as a different example, like a lot of people ask me to come to their shower, and a lot of people ask me to maybe help them move. Not physical shower, like a bridal shower.
I got it.
A lot of,
It took me a minute.
right? Like a lot of, and,
Like,
and
I am not getting these invites. I will just say.
And there are times,
You live in Austin.
right? There are times that I say
I work from home.
yes to these things or no to these things, and when I look back, I realize I was not treating everybody equally. I was doing something in my heart that my brain was not involved in with my yes or my no. So it's not like I am, in my mind, I'm like adding a +1 to what you're saying, because like 2s are going to say no because they're not necessarily afraid of saying no. They're afraid of saying no when they're supposed to be this reciprocal thing, and you're supposed to think and feel this way about me, and this is what keeps me going.
Which I think has proven the point.
Yeah.
There's something else going on here that's not help. It's something else that really is identifying. It's a
Yes.
misconception.
Yes.
That's what I'm
like
going to say.
when I've like, there are times that you've maybe asked me for something and like I've said yes to this, but like no to that. Every single no I've said to you, Jeff, is really, really hard because I have to tell myself that I know Jeff and that he's not going to just not like me anymore because I said no. Right? Like I think but then that's me. But again, help's just an avenue. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Help
Or-
is for attention and what I want and being securing this place that I don't have to think about. Sex is another avenue, giving's another avenue, support's another avenue, right?
Yep.
Being the errands friend is an avenue, right? So it's an interest helper. To Jeff's point, sucks Donkey Kong.
Yeah. It's like we wouldn't call a loan shark a philanthropist.
Right.
Now hear me out, twos. Stay
Listen,
with me.
Listen, I'm gonna +1 what you're saying, because twos can be really godfatherish. I'm sorry, we're all not just like, let me make you a tater tot casserole, baby.
This is my misconception we're getting into. Yes.
It's not about there is a source, I think, of generous sacrifice that is inside of them, but they're not automatically giving from that source. There's another thing, like
Yes.
and it's like the thing that we say to twos that they hate hearing is that like it's about giving to get. If there is not something that they are gaining from that offering, then they may not offer it.
Which I think that's what Jackie was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Like if I can't really see what's in this for me, it's just much easier for me to not get involved. Because once I'm involved,
And it's not a conscious thought all the time, but then somebody asks you and you have these feelings that come from being asked and not offering, and now it looks different.
Right.
yeah. So going on that, my big misconception is there's something about meekness that I think people have about twos, which I think could not be more incorrect.
Yeah, it's not true.
I think of twos as a force of nature. Like the capacity, the capability. I am honestly like kind of in awe. Like I have a lot of twos in my life right now, and I'm just like, honestly, they do. And who said it earlier? Our systems are designed to take advantage of twos. TJ, I think you said it. They are making so much happen in the world, and with such capacity and ability, it's just very impressive to me. And I maybe not all twos, but in terms of like the personality and the ability to like get what they want, you got to bring a lot of capacity to that. You can't be sitting back And maybe if you are, that's going to get a lot of the like really unhealthy 2 stuff, right? Where it's like gets into all the people don't do for me loudly. Anyway, I just want to say that for 2s. I'm kind of blown away by 2s generally, like in a really good, respectful way. I mean that.
And
That's
even,
an excellent word.
Yeah, to come back to, I think, your initial point. I don't want to say it's your fault, but the sense that 2s may get from what they can receive from another person may not. Again, there is not objectivity here. The sense of what they can get from the other person is internal, and so the other person, and so 2 saying no to you, Jeff, has so much to do with how they perceive what you were going to offer them. And
that's not a bad thing for you, Jeff.
That idea of them just blanket offering helpfulness is it's false.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's what I was seeking to communicate through the illustration.
Yep.
I think another misconception is that 2s are always like very optimistic and positive about their relationships. There's a lot of there's a lot of like being not to use the V word, but a victim to pride. And once like pride pops things and you start to see that like it's not how it is unless I initiate it, or unless I do this, or unless I'm upholding the structure and now my arms are tired and blah, 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 blah. Like the positive outlook and pride, I think, keep that carousel going, but they're not always the same way that 7s are not always happy. They want to be happy. 2s are not always actually happy about their relationships or optimistic about their relationships. They are more often than not trying to get to that place and fist fighting pride the whole way there.
Yeah. But the presentation they want to offer is not
Absolutely.
one that
Right.
creates any kind of division.
And it's not for image reasons. It is for pride reasons.
What's the difference there, Jackie?
Image would mean that if it goes out to another and is received by another, their reverberation would maybe affect me in some way. And it's not that that doesn't matter to me. It's that like I'm not hiding. Let's say if I'm not happy in a relationship or a friendship, or I'm not optimistic about it, whatever, I'm not trying to hide that from the world because my image depends on it. I think I'm trying to hide that from me and my pride because I don't want to feel that deflate. It's not really about I can't let Susie or I can't let them see. It's about the pride.
Okay.
I don't know how else to. I'm trying to find a way to.
I think I'm trying to make. So what about the thing where 2s? Okay, is this Jackie? Is it fair to say secretly between you and me that 2s like to gossip or become special to some? Right, like
Kristin. I've said this to Jeff before. I'll say it to you. I'll say it to everybody. If you text me and you want to gossip, and I say we shouldn't do that, I'm in a hostage situation. Someone took my phone. Call the cops.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
That Ouija board we were talking about earlier, it's to bring that dead horse back from the grave and beat it.
Yeah.
I love to now look, I'm not like oh my god, but I do love to be a person that people can trust to air out their stuff and feel around in the dark.
And to know all the secrets about everyone
I do like to know everything.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes,
I do
because
know, but I also
when
don't-
you're in relationships with 2s, you see them presenting, and you see them.
So, but
and it's great.
So here's
but
the
I think
thing.
they
I
don't
know
like that.
I do. One of the things about me, I don't know if this is a thing for all 2s because I don't hear it in the literature. I have compartmentalization space in my heart. Like, so when Susie needs to feel around in the dark about what happened with Tina, I don't love Tina differently. I am making space for Susie, and I love the place that I have for Susie, and Susie better know that I'm still Tina's friend. Blah 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 blah. But I think it's about being
That's
that
true about
person.
you.
Like I
Yeah.
have that.
I think that's true about-
compartmentalization. Now, I will say, I think there's a standing back that I do personally, that I'm like, I know what getting more involved does to me and does to them. And I don't want to create that. But I don't know if that's... Anyway, now I'm just talking too much.
No, you're talking about how it's tricky.
It do be tricky.
It is. But to hold it as tricky is mature. So guess you're not such a baby after all, Jackie.
I'm still only 5 apples tall.
3s, what you got, Teach?
That was good.
3s was another one that I really struggled with because they present the way they want to be.
And they do a good job at it.
And they do a good job at it. I think that one big thing that has to come home for a lot of people when talking about 3s is that they don't want their success at the expense of yours unless that's, they're unhealthy and that's the cost of their success.
Right.
Like
and
usually
and it's
when
not really
they're-
you losing it. It's still just them winning it, if that's
Right.
the case. Yes.
Right. So, like, seeing them tied to an organization, they want the organization's success because that also makes them successful. It's not that they want to rise and stand out and be the only thing that matters. It's if the whole tide rises, all of us rise. I'll be the one standing on it, raising it, but if the whole tide rises, all of us rise.
I think that's...
That was the one thing I thought.
Yeah.
So the myth or the misconception would be that 3s need to be
An independent
seen at
winner,
the top of the
yeah.
mountain.
And potentially singular.
That's what I'm saying. That's the
Yeah.
misconception.
Yeah.
Whereas you're saying it's maybe more true that they want the winning,
Yeah.
but if more people come along, that's just as
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want the spotlight, but if nobody's in the audience, who cares?
Right. It's interesting because to your point, TJ, there's a subtype of 4 that has an all or nothing idea of success way more than any of the 3 subtypes.
Yeah.
So to your point, for it's... Yeah. Yes, I hear what you're saying. It's not unless you winning means I don't get to win at all, and that means I'm the loser. We don't really... We can do this to... Yeah. Your success can be mine. Yeah, I think it's well said. I had
What about what about the idea that 3s just are successful? Isn't that a misconception?
I think it
That's I think it is too.
I think
They
they
just
present
are-
Is that what
successfulness.
people are saying? Like 3s are successful. This, that. Is that what people
Yeah,
are
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Like you can spot a 3 by how successful they are.
By their
As if
Jimmy
if you
Choo bag.
can't see the 3, then they're not a 3
All of the Olympians were 3s.
type of thing.
Okay. I don't think that's... I mean, we
That's
can
not a misconception that you've
We
heard.
can come down... I haven't heard it, no, but we can come down on it with a hammer when we immediately say success is relative for 3s. And that it's
Yeah.
always
Okay.
changing, right? So it's like, how do we... We can say that, but that's based on us.
So they are chasing success and achievement, but they may not be there.
And it may be based on their own perception, and also we have to consider health, and like I'm playing with this idea of typing Michael Scott from The Office as a 3.
Which we should never do, apparently.
We should never type other people, but he's fictional, so I feel less bad about it. But as a 3
Social too.
who is
Social
also
too.
stupid.
Social too.
Okay,
Social
but for the sake of the argument, the 3 who is also stupid can present an image of success that is not reflected, that they're the only ones who can't see the cracks, There are 3s out there who look successful, but when you look at the actual tax returns that they've made available, they're hiding their failures to make it look like success. Like there's the image of success
Right.
is much more important than the actual success. But
different
also,
metric.
Well,
most 3s are strive for excellence in order to attain.
Okay, I just have a question. How did you not think floating
Michael Scott as a 3 would not be so distracting to anything you had to say next, TJ. I am so stuck.
My ringtone is The Office, by the way.
But this is like we have to. There have been and are going to be billions of 3s, and some of them are not going to be smart, right? Some of them are going to be stupid. So how do we present?
Then they're not going to be running Dunder Mifflin.
Maybe.
Okay, no, you're right. You're right.
When you say that they're like the image is more important than the actual success, I think the idea behind I think that's very, very accurate, but it's not like, oh, I want nothing. I just want people to think I have something. It's not. It's that when people think that of you, then I am.
Yes. Yeah.
If people think that of me, then I am, right? So when a misconception that I wrote down was that they do not want to trick mostly, right? These are levels of health, but even there, I think the line is blurred with identification. They don't want to just have the markers of success. They want to be or rise to or embody the things that are those markers of success. That's why it's so, they're not just trying to be like, this is who I am. They want to be that. They're not like, that's why identification comes into play, because it's very hard to tell them that they are not who they are, because they're already identified with this image they're playing. They're not aware that it's an image. They're wanting to rise to it. I'm swallowing my words a little bit here, but that's, I think along that vein, another misconception that I wrote here that I found with working with clients is a misconception is that they always know what they need and want, or that what they need to do or want to do, which they might always know what they have to do next to maintain their image or get the next, but when it comes to them, they don't always know or are aware of what they need to do, want to do, would do if they could just choose.
Ooh. May I push back on that?
Yeah.
I think that 3s generally have very simple goals. They have they generally have a mark or a target in mind of whose attention they want. And most 3 behavior, in my experience, can really be reduced to something like that. Like, who do you want to get positive regard from?
If someone's doing the work, right, and they are trying to undo that, and it becomes, okay, well, if anything, if I'm a winner anywhere I go, because I am, what would I choose? What would I do? I think that's where, like, they're not sure what they would do if they're not just following the lead or the goal or the very simple, like,
yeah. When pressed into what do you want,
or even if they're at a place where, I'm thinking of one thing in particular where it wasn't a failure but a win that actually made a client of mine go into the dark and go, this wasn't it, and I have to figure out something for me, and they couldn't locate it because there was no me, so they just went back out and continued what they were doing.
This is where 3s can actually start to contact their work. Is either a failure or a success that did not do what they thought it would, or a big failure. It's kind of like something has to,
or a success that you made an obligation along the way, you won, and suddenly nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thing that I had was, I think that the titles performer and achiever actually work pretty well. So I think
performer actually works. Yeah.
I think they do kind of get to something about motive and how behavior is exhibited. The thing I think that is a misconception about 3s is that they just want the image. I think 3s actually really want the foundational matter. They want to be the successful, not just be seen as successful.
Yeah.
I think Kristin said in a previous episode, or maybe one that didn't air, like fake it till you make it was probably made by a 3. And I was like, that's so apt, right? And it's not like about being fake. It's about rising to the occasion until you make it. Until you make it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Agreed. Anything else on 3s?
Nope.
4s. What you got, Teach?
4s want to be unique. This is a crock of shit.
Oh, say more.
4s are unique. It's not what they want.
Just by nature of being a person?
Yep.
Oh, that's so boring.
Ask a 4 about that. So that is actually one of my biggest things. usually when I talk to fours about the Enneagram and they have done any kind of looking into it, but not significant, the thing that they come back with is that fours want to be unique. And I hear people say that to fours. And I think that is a gross misconception about the inner life of the fours. I don't think they want to necessarily stand out or to be individual. I think they have an internal known sense of the fact of individuality, and they want to be true to themselves,
and they want to be accepted for their individuality, their differences. For TJ, to your point, a more accurate-ish statement would be, I am unique and other people don't realize it.
Yeah.
This is also one that creates a lot of mistyping, because who's out here saying, I want to be just like everybody else?
Right. Yeah.
Like, people love to grab that, I'm unique.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm a 4. Or I want to be. And it's like that. Wait, no. Like, generally, people aren't like, I'm just,
What I
myself.
What I think ends up being this like piece of competition is this thing that, something is missing in them that's going to kind of complete the picture on their uniqueness, but their ability to belong, be witnessed, and be seen and held, and like, leave their mark in that. And so like a misconception I wrote down was that they don't actually enjoy everyday ordinary life or beauty. That's not true. I think they're really unsettled by the fact that something is missing, or missing in them, missing in their life, that they have to find it, that this is just not doing it. It's the same thing sort of tied to this idea that like this misconception that they enjoy their pain and their suffering and their stories and narratives, when in reality they value the fact that meaning and new revelations and maybe a lead would come from that.
Yeah, that was one of my big ones too, is that they like being sad sacks of sadness. No.
Every 4 I've ever worked with who is like, how do I not be a victim? Because I cannot do this. Like, I don't want to be a victim to this. And I'm like, oh, come. Yeah, very good.
But then getting tripped up over and over again by believing that they are a victim.
Well, I think what it is still continuing to feel that life perpetuates an agreement that something is missing in them, and that when they go back and they look at these stories or what have you, they get something new that's going to find them something. Point is, nothing's missing and they're looking for nothing. But that's the thing that trips them up, because you go back into old stories, you get new meaning. That's not really necessary to move forward.
So much of therapy you just blew up there, Jackie.
Yeah, everybody cancel your appointments.
Yeah.
I think there's something for fours about finding their identity through contrast. Like, TJ, to your, like, if you were to imagine a high school and you have a 4 who dresses a certain way, they got their purple coat and they got their certain hairstyle, and then the next day everybody shows up purple coat, hairstyle. Is the 4 going to remain there for the next 3 months if that's how things are, or is the 4 going to feel something like a pressure to change because now they're ordinary at some level? Isn't there something about uniqueness that some 4s are chasing in order to understand who they are?
I would suggest that there is a lot of circumstance that would play into the answer to that question.
I think that's right.
Because there are probably a lot of 4s out there who would look at that situation and say, look what I started.
Oh.
Would they remain there?
They might.
Maybe for a week or 2.
I think that's the point.
I think at the end of the day, this becomes a question then of, and this is where we lose stuff with types, is the vice organizes the personality. So what would envy have them do? And there are a lot of different ways that envy would have them handle, right? So some 4s for sure would be like, fuck this, I'm bleaching my hair now. Some 4s would maybe just continue to like be looking on the inside of themselves and finding them in the author and just continuing to do what they are doing, because envy organizes some 4s to just continue working hard to find them. Like, I think it just depends how, and some of these are like the nuances of like, how anger might organize the personality or indolence might organize the personality. But like, I think that question is, how would envy organize that individual?
Very good.
You can disagree.
No, I think that's interesting. I have the intuition, and you're pointing toward motive underneath of what a 4 would commonly do if everybody started dressing the same, or if they all bought the same car.
Yeah, I don't think a 4 would stay there, but I don't think they would necessarily immediately jump because everyone else is different. It has become the same. I think they would.
In fact, that
they
sounds
would switch.
3-ish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they would switch
exactly.
when they wanted, like when this was no longer suiting them, when it didn't feel authentic to them anymore. I agree in a lot of cases, and especially in an average space, it's very conceivable that a 4 would be like, oh, everyone's doing the same thing now, I need to do something different. But it's not necessarily because they need to be different, it's because they need to express their trueness.
The title in the books that I've been quoting has romantic, and I feel like that also kind of is pretty on the nose.
You think so?
Although, well, we can. You tell me.
I feel that 2s lean towards romanticism and 4s lean towards idealization, because one is here and now and the other one is in the future. And 4s are in that funny balance of like nostalgia over here, idealization over here. I am never touching the ground in the present. So if romantic or romanticism was to hold hands with like the concept of idealization, like I think I'd float in that direction. But I think 2s romanticize things, embellish things a little bit more.
Endlessly.
Yeah, shut up.
No, it's an excellent point. That's similar to some of my challenges for other things. It's that other types may embody this more than the one that's getting the title.
Right.
I think that's an excellent point.
The fantasy that can play, sorry, Kristin, the fantasy in the idealization and the nostalgia, right, that can kind of come out and make things imaginary can be like romanticism, but romanticism
Right.
speaks of embellishing the thing right in front of you, not leaving the planet to be on your inner world.
So, okay, that's so good. So it's the future versus an act right here and now is how you're defining it. That's good. That's good. Or the past.
Or the past, yes.
Yeah.
Which when they were in the past,
Maybe more
it was
likely,
the present,
yeah.
and so it wasn't very good. But now that they're not there anymore, it's nostalgia, and
Right.
something was there, and it's gone from them.
Right.
And just to make sure this is thrown out there, it's also the case that the concept of romance has been co-opted and means a certain thing in our
Yes.
language, and
Yes.
so to calling 4s the romantic assumes a level of
Kissing.
of relational intimacy that is about love and affection and like not the bigger concepts of these things, but about like red hearts and roses. Yeah. And that's not what romantic means.
Right.
Or to romanticize something. I think there's a lot of making these things verbs that makes them more useful, right? As
Right.
opposed to labels when we look at them as like movements. Because when we think of type, it's like it's what moves us in the world. So
I felt that way about how you said-
verbing of things.
I felt like that. I felt that way when you said about like perfecting,
yes,
because it's a process, which it's true. You're
Yes.
always molding things, perfecting things, right? As opposed to
Yeah.
perfection. Anyway, but yeah.
So if we think of these as ways we move, it just makes it a lot more. It brings things more to life in these ways.
Any other thoughts on
Fives.
fours? Okay.
I did want to say about 4s, I think the misconception is that they're very empathetic and can go deep with other people. I think that is not a
Really?
fact of the matter. Yeah. From a 4.
I disagree. I would like to hear more.
Okay, let me just tell you what
Yeah,
she said.
please
So
do.
she was talking about how because 4s are so self-centered, they're not actually good automatically at gathering accurate data from another. which
Yes.
is kind of what
Okay.
is
Yes.
required for true empathy.
Right.
So they can kind of
Right.
they're wanting an experience with another person's feelings. They're wanting this like feelings to feelings thing, but they're not
Right.
necessarily good at accurate, as she said, data collection when it comes to others, which I thought was so good.
I think to your point, I think that's a really astute way of saying it, because the exception would be that there are times where I'm like, if I need to talk to somebody about this, it's going to be a 4. I will go out of my, I'm not like looking to give them an experience or we're here and connecting and it just
But
comes
what
up.
are they looking for?
But
yeah.
when I bring it to them and allow them to just sit with it and then they can come back to me, it is the most amazing sitting in the dark I've ever experienced. But like, it's different than it's I don't know that 4 is looking for those cues in person. But if a person was to bring them their dark, a 4,
Well,
I
that's
think
what
would
they
hold
want,
that. Yeah.
according to this 4, right? Like, yes, bring me the dark, but then it's how to actually meet what that person is bringing. She said there's
It's
we're
hard
kind
to
of blind
attune.
to.
Yeah, okay, no, I
yeah,
think
because
that's-
they're not naturally attuned, actually, because they're very.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because
Self-centered.
they do have a deep, I'll say like empathy, like movement for what the other person's going through. But I think to your point, to be able to access something that is for the other person and not going on in their,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's well said.
Yeah, she kind of
That's great,
really
yeah.
helped me understand. I was like, ooh,
That was brilliant. Yeah.
I'll thank her.
As a thought, it seems like 4s do have that gear of being able to go into those depthy emotions. My experience is that they don't necessarily long to for the empathetic reasons.
Well, because
They
they're meaning
do-
making for themselves. They're meaning making for themselves, right? So just because I know how to navigate this tunnel doesn't mean I want to play Lewis and Clark for everybody.
Correct.
Yeah, empathy is not type specific. Empathy is a personal quality.
Yeah.
That is its whole own thing.
Hey, we're talking about that tonight on the reading room. The reason for going into those spaces strikes me as a primary place where 4s connect with others is feeling most comfortable in that emotional sphere. And so if somebody does expose those places of hardship and feelings at those levels, that invites connection.
It's
But
almost
exactly
like
right, you don't need to care about that.
like an accidental, right? Like I'm putting my feelers out, and every now and again it's going to hit, but that isn't because I necessarily got it right. It might just be like sort of an incidental thing that sometimes works.
One, I guess, now as I'm sitting here and I'm processing it, that is what 4s want from us. They want us to witness them. They're really, really good at being able to
Exactly.
witness, but maybe not that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
5s. What you say, Teach?
Can I not start on 5s?
Sure.
I can't start on time.
I got it.
Great.
Misconception would be that they are only cerebral. I think there is a lot of truth to centralizing their energy to their thinking, but I mean, the heart isn't even the repressed center, right? It's not, just
Right.
thinking. So I think that's a
Right.
huge thing. I hear people all the time where they're like, oh, I can't be a 5 because I'm not like computer and NASA. And I'm like, go get one book, please. The second misconception I had is that they don't need or want people. It is the case
Totally.
that, some 5s are like, I kind of don't understand just hanging out without purpose. But I also, it's not the need or want for people that doesn't exist. It's the unlimitedness of access to one another that is hard to navigate when it comes to connections. And the third misconception I had is that they fear intimacy, and that's not fucking true. They don't want intrusion. They fear intrusion.
Yeah.
And I think I get a little bit angry and upset, so I apologize. I hate, like I am using this word deliberately, that people have made it so that it seems like 5s are afraid of intimacy, that they are afraid of people, that they are afraid of using their hearts. There's just so much that's misunderstood there. So again, they don't fear intimacy, they fear intrusion. And I think big misconceptions that we have about 5s, and I'm going to stop because I'm getting sweaty.
I just want to agree and say that fear of intimacy is a major human problem.
Yeah.
It is not at all
A 5 thing. Yep.
a
Come
one
on.
type thing.
Yep.
Intimacy is so vulnerable. We generally suck at it as people, and 5s do not need to get labeled with that.
Yes.
And you can point to that in every single type
100%.
and why they do it. Yeah.
It's because we all have a core fear. That's why. That we're trying to avoid at all costs.
This, I think that is a much cleaner, like a much more meaningful way. All of that is saying the reason that I struggled with this one is because I think that our misconception is that we know anything about 5s.
Well said.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Well said.
I agree. That's something that we have pointed out a handful of times in terms of 2s, 5s, 8s. Their energy's going outward. Can be very difficult to read the inner life of 2s, 5s, and 8s because oftentimes they may not have energy directed in those ways. I think Jackie's list is spot on, and the only cerebral pops for me. Some of the more emotional people that I know are actually 5s, and one lives in my house. The don't want or need other people, exactly right. People can be resources for security. And oftentimes 5s are the ones who most heavily invest in their relationships because people protect you. And that may be a small circle, just like 2s and 8s. And that seems spot on. I love the idea of bringing up they don't want intrusiveness and the fear of intimacy. This says a lot. I have the names I have are investigator and observer, both of which are thin for me. They don't cut to what a 5 is. This is more behavior, and I think we're getting closer to what's actually at the core of the 5. Rock music, doing 6s. What you say, Teach?
I know it's like core to it, but the word fear with 6s is too all-encompassing in the way that we talk about it with 6s. That's the easiest way I could think of to say this.
It's too much of the literature. Too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
The misconception is that that investigation is a choice. I don't care. Argue with your mama. If your feelings have been hurt by 6, argue with your mama. Investigation for certainty is automatic. The way that they go about it can manifest in different ways, but if I don't understand something, the automatic thing that I'm doing is looking to understand it. Period. It's not a choice to hurt you. It's not a choice to challenge you. It's not a choice to assume. Very likely there's like not a conscious thought assuming something right away. The investigation is the most automatic thing. And I feel like people put it on 6s that they are choosing or looking. I know we use the phrase like problem seeking, problem solving, right? But the investigation is automatic. It can't be any clearer than that. The same way that we have these automatic patterns, all of us, 6s are just trying to find their sense of certainty through investigating
The
something.
misconception being that they're looking that
they're
is a
choosing
conscious
to
thing, that they're yeah.
investigate you further, ask you more, like this is an automatic thing.
Yeah. They're not rabble rousers.
For the sake of what needs to come out of the investigation, maybe, but on purpose and just for fun, no.
Yeah, I think we need to back up that, TJ, a little bit.
No, I mean like they're not rousing rabble for the sake of rousing rabble.
Right.
There's a damn good reason every time.
I also think a big misconception is that they're just imagining things. A lot of what they're afraid might happen or are unsure of is relevant to their experience, has happened before XYZ. And that a misconception is that they're always feeling the sensation of anxiety. A lot of how anxiety works can be a mental thing. It can just be the mental strategy of how to keep XYZ thing away and reduce all of the contingencies in the middle. It can just, it's not always feeling the feeling of anxiety in your body for type 6. I think that's a huge misconception because when people are telling a 6, like, you're just anxious or you're anxious about this, it's really hard for them to be, they're not feeling anxious all the time. Kristin, I'd love to hear any of your thoughts, please.
I'm going to let those stand.
Thank you.
I have the loyalist. I have the loyalist as the title. I think that this is can be misguided. Sixes are an attachment type, and so that means that oftentimes sixes will detach, and that seems to contradict the idea of loyalty. That's not to say that sixes can't be loyal. Obviously, lots of types can be loyal. There's something depthier, I think, here that's worth exploring.
Yeah, I have that sixes always know where the exits are. That kind of bullshit really gets my goat.
Yeah.
I
also always know where the exits are. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and I never do.
Yeah.
I couldn't give two shits where the exits are. These are not things that I'm worrying about. Sixes are worrying about their particular domains of concern and are just as confused as everyone else about why some sixes are worried about this, that, or the other thing.
Right.
So the full generalization, Jackie, I think to your point stands. However, if something in the sixes domain is perceived at risk, that will be paramount.
Yes.
So if something is pinging, that will be lived in the body and in the head simultaneously. And often all this anxious thinking is truly the classic overthinking is underfeeling.
It lives in the body, but does it register as feeling anxiety in the body, or is it something else? I think that's where I would like to...
It registers as feeling anxiety or anger or cynicism. I would say those are the core emotions that are sort of at hand. Cynicism, anger, anxiety. And then if you can slow down the thinking, you will contact what's really there, which is fear, but it's specific, or sadness. Often sadness and grief is just like right there.
Well said.
So the six's inability to contact the fear is why it's kind of correct, but it's specific.
Yeah.
That's I think what you're saying, TJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's the belief, right? The belief that I can't handle a feeling of fear is what is the root of all of the busy stuff happening in the brain. I can't handle these inconsistencies in this person that I trust. I can't handle this thing happening that I'm afraid of happening. And that's what causes the... Because when we know we can handle it...
It's different.
Then we can have a lot more choice in how we move forward.
Well said.
Let's land with sevens.
Sevens are
Sevens
not...
are always happy.
I was going to say, it's not always happy.
Yeah.
I say this when I first work with a seven. There are bright side sevens, there are moody sevens, and they're all just trying to be happy.
I'm starting to think the misconceptions of sevens are some of the worst. Like,
Very hard.
really bad.
My typing material is so different than what we see online for sevens, and they're
Yeah.
like, holy shit, I didn't think you were going to tell me any of this stuff about me.
Yeah.
We put a lot onto sevens. Yeah.
Like the whole trapped escape thing. Like, I resonate with that so
Yes. Yeah.
deeply.
Yeah.
And
So do fives.
it creates like it's not a fun.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I
Yeah.
Well, you share that with them in terms of avoiding the inner, your anxiety going inward. That would be the common space between them.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's not any kind of like, right? There's no like
I see.
party
Yep,
attached to it. Like, it's this whole clown party thing.
life of the party.
Stereotype
Yeah,
is-
like that was another
oh.
thing was like life of the party. They're all outgoing. That's
the
not
dancing
the case.
monkey. Yeah.
bad.
My husband's not that at all, but he is a seven through and through. And the last thing I had was like that they're naturally selfish. Like they do redirect back to self, but like, man, if pain or limitation or whatever the things that they're afraid of in their own experience are not at stake, they're very selfless. They're so selfless. They're so including and generous with their experience, with their the things that their electricity, etc., with their dreaminess, etc.
Yeah. The idea that so sevens being sort of out of touch with their own heart center means that they like part of that is that they do not understand the effect they have on other people. But unlike some other types, they care about that, especially when it's a negative effect.
Yes.
Say more.
I mean, like sevens may be unaware that they hurt your feelings, but they certainly didn't mean to. necessarily. And when they find out about
give a
it,
shit.
they feel bad. You know, like it's they're unaware of it, but it's not that they don't care.
7s are very sensitive to making sure you don't experience the things that they think are pains, that they think are limitations, that they think are like. My husband is
Because they don't want anyone to
Yep,
have that
exactly.
experience. Like, that's bad.
Yes.
Yes.
And so then
Title.
them being the cause of that is especially bad.
I just bought myself 5 minutes. Carry on.
Oh, okay. Title I have is enthusiast, which goes alongside the critiques of everything you're saying, is that it's, again, behavior. And a lot of the behavior we experience from 7s that are in our lives can be all that up front.
Yeah.
Masks a lot of that underside that they themselves are avoiding. And perhaps this is one of the places where it's like the least helpful kind of title, because it would suggest that they're not allowed to get into some of those other things.
Enthusiasm is a tool. It's like an engine. Like it's not the brain of the 7 that makes them want to do something new. It's the enthusiasm. When the enthusiasm runs out, it's done. It's done. So enthusiast is to say I'm excited about everything, but in reality, that's the thing that gives them wings to get them to the next thing. That's not the core whatsoever.
Last word on 7s?
So true. And it is kind of endless until it's not.
And
it's very interesting that way.
When the enthusiasm's done, all the oxygen's out of the room. You're done. You can't breathe. You leave too.
Yes. Which is sometimes what it takes for a 7 to stop something that maybe they should. Yeah.
Boom. Last word on 7s?
Justice for 7s.
Justice for 7. Good morning.
Good morning is right.
I need a nap after that. No time. Okay.
You got work to do.
Word.
I do. I've got to.
You have responsibilities.
Now. Oh, we should have talked about responsibilities. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.